The cold metal walls of the research ship hummed quietly. Small lights blinked on and off in the darkness. Kavalix moved her 6 legs carefully across the floor. Her antennae twitched as she checked the scanner in her hand. The numbers on the screen made her stop moving. She was a scientist from the Valix species. Her people looked like large insects with smooth black shells. They were careful creatures who never took risks. That was why they had survived for millions of years. Kavalix looked at the old ship floating outside the window. It was huge and broken. Parts of it were missing. Other parts were twisted and burned. Her team had found it 3 days ago in a part of space called the Void Sector. No one came here. It was too dangerous. But this ship was special. It was a human ship. Humans were dead. Everyone knew this. They had died almost 900 years ago. Something terrible had killed them all. The other species in the galaxy were afraid of humans, even now. They called humans the architects of the plague. Kavalix walked down the narrow hallway. She entered the room where they had put the human device. It was a large metal tube with a small window. Inside the window, she could see a face. A human face. The face belonged to a man. His skin was pale. His eyes were closed. Ice crystals covered his hair and eyebrows. He looked peaceful, like he was sleeping. But he was not sleeping. He was frozen. This was a cryopod. Humans used these machines to sleep for many years during long space trips. Kavalix had found hundreds of these pods on the human ship. But all the others were dark and silent. Their power had died long ago. The humans inside were dead too. This pod was different. It still had power. A small green light blinked on the side. The computer screen showed information about the man inside. His name was Marcus Chen. He was a xenobiologist. That meant he studied alien life forms. Kavalix touched the screen with one of her front legs. The computer showed more information. Marcus Chen had entered the pod 847 years ago. The pod had kept him frozen since then. It had protected him from death. She heard footsteps behind her. Another Valix entered the room. His name was Thren. He was the ship captain. "You should not be here," Thren said. His voice was sharp. "I am studying the specimen," Kavalix replied. She did not look at him. She kept her eyes on the frozen human. "The Galactic Council gave orders. We must not wake it up. We must bring the pod to the council station. They will decide what to do." "What if he has information?" Kavalix asked. "What if he knows what killed the humans? We could learn from him." Thren moved closer. His antennae pointed down. This was a sign of anger. Humans were dangerous. They created weapons that killed planets. They built machines that changed the nature of life itself. That is why they died. Their own creations destroyed them. But what if he is not dangerous? Kavalix turned to face the captain. "What if he is just a scientist like me?" Thren made a clicking sound with his mouth. "The council will kill him. You know this. They are afraid of humans. They will not take any chances." Kavalix looked back at the pod. The man inside looked so ordinary. He did not look like a monster. He did not look like someone who could destroy worlds. "Leave this room," Thren ordered. "That is final." The captain walked away. Kavalix heard his footsteps fade down the hallway. She was alone again with the frozen human. For 3 days, Kavalix thought about Marcus Chen. She read reports about humans. She studied their history. She learned that humans had been curious creatures. They explored everything. They asked questions about the universe. They wanted to understand how life worked. That was why humans had started the Genesis projects. These were experiments to change planets. Humans wanted to make dead worlds come alive. They wanted to create new forests, new oceans, new animals. They wanted to spread life across the galaxy. But something had gone wrong. The experiments had created something terrible. Something that other species called the cascade. It was a kind of plague. It changed living things in horrible ways. It spread from world to world. It killed everything it touched. The humans had tried to stop it. They had failed. The cascade had swept through all their worlds. In 10 years, Humanity was gone. The other species had been lucky. The cascade had stopped spreading after the last human died. No one knew why. But they were grateful. They had survived. Now the galaxy was peaceful. 12 species worked together in the Galactic Council. They had rules about weapons. They had rules about dangerous experiments. They never wanted another cascade. On the 4th night, Kavalix made her decision. She waited until the other crew members were sleeping. Then she went to the room with the cryopod. Her hands shook as she touched the control panel. A warning message appeared on the screen. It said the revival process was dangerous. It said the human might die. It said she should not continue. Kavalix pressed the button anyway. The pod began to hum. Liquid drained from tubes. The ice on the window started to melt. Inside, the human's chest moved. He was breathing. The pod door opened with a hiss. Steam poured out. Kavalix stepped back. Her heart was beating fast. What had she done? The human's eyes opened. They were brown and confused. He tried to sit up, but his muscles were weak. He fell back against the pod. His mouth moved. He was trying to speak. Where? His voice was dry and rough. Where am I? Kavalix did not answer. She was frozen with fear. The human turned his head and saw her. His eyes went wide. You're not human, he said. No, Kavalix finally managed to speak. I am Valix. My name is Kavalix. You are on my research ship. Marcus Chen looked around the room. He saw the strange equipment. He saw the alien writing on the walls. Fear filled his eyes. How long was I asleep? He asked. Kavalix hesitated. How could she tell him? How could she explain that his entire species was dead? 847 years, she said quietly. The human stared at her. His face turned white. That's not possible. I am sorry, Kavalix said, but there is more you need to know. Your species is extinct. Humanity is gone. Marcus Chen tried to stand. His legs collapsed under him. He fell to the floor. Kavalix wanted to help him, but she was afraid to touch him. She had never been this close to a human before. No one had. Not for hundreds of years. Gone, he whispered. All of them. Yes, the cascade killed them. Your species created it. It was an accident, but it destroyed everything. The human's face changed. He looked confused. The cascade? I can't remember. Kavalix felt a chill run through her body. What do you mean? My last memories are from the research station. We were working on something important. But after that, he pressed his hands to his head. It's all blank. I can't remember why I got in the cryopod. I can't remember what happened. Alarm bells suddenly rang through the ship. Red lights flashed. Kavalix heard shouting in the hallway. The captain had discovered what she had done. The door burst open. Thren stood there with 4 guards. They all carried weapons. The weapons were pointed at Marcus Chen. Step away from the human, Thren ordered Kavalix. Kavalix did not move. She stood between the guards and Marcus Chen. He is not dangerous. He does not even remember what happened. That does not matter, the captain said. He is an architect of the plague. He must be contained. Marcus Chen looked at all of them. He saw the fear in their eyes. He saw the weapons. Slowly, he raised his hands. I don't want any trouble, he said. Just tell me what you want me to do. The guards moved forward. They put heavy metal bands around his wrists and ankles. They led him out of the room. Kavalix watched them take him away. She had woken him up. She had given him life. But now she had also made him a prisoner. Thren looked at her with anger. You have broken our laws. The council will hear about this. I know, Kavalix said, but I had to know. I had to see if humans were really the monsters everyone says they are. And what did you learn? Kavalix thought about Marcus Chen. She thought about the confusion and fear in his eyes. She thought about how he had raised his hands in peace. I learned, she said slowly, that we might be afraid of the wrong thing. Marcus Chen sat in his cell. The walls were made of clear material, like glass but stronger. He could see out, but he could not touch anything beyond the walls. On the other side, he saw aliens moving back and forth. They all looked at him with fear. He had been here for 5 days. They gave him food and water through a small opening. They never came close to him. They treated him like a dangerous animal in a zoo. The only one who spoke to him was Kvalix. She came every day. She stood outside his cell and asked him questions. She wanted to know about his life on Earth. She wanted to know about his work. She wanted to know about the cascade. But Marcus could not remember. His memories stopped 6 months before he entered the cryopod. Everything after that was darkness. Today, Kvalix brought something different. She carried a small device in her hands. It looked like a tablet computer, but the design was alien. "I have information for you," she said, "about what happened to your people." Marcus moved closer to the wall. "Tell me." Kvalix touched the screen. Images appeared in the air between them. They were holograms. Marcus saw planets. He saw cities. He saw faces. "This is Earth," Kvalix said. The image showed a blue and green world. "This is how it looked before the cascade." Marcus felt tears in his eyes. He remembered Earth. He remembered the forests and oceans. He remembered cities full of people, his home. The image changed. Now Earth looked different. The green was gone. Strange colors covered the surface. Purple and black and sickly yellow. The cities were twisted ruins. "This is Earth after the cascade," Kvalix said quietly. "It happened fast. In 1 year, every human world looked like this." "What is the cascade?" Marcus asked. His voice shook. "We do not fully understand it. It was some kind of biological weapon, but records say humans did not mean to create it. It was an accident, part of something called the Genesis Projects." Marcus felt like he had been hit in the chest. Genesis Projects. He knew that name. He had worked on the Genesis Projects. "I remember," he said. "We were trying to help planets. We wanted to bring life to dead worlds. We were creating organisms that could survive anywhere. Organisms that could change and adapt." "Yes," Kvalix said. "But something went wrong. The organisms became too good at adapting. They became too good at changing. They spread across planets and changed everything they touched. They destroyed the natural order of life." More images appeared. Marcus saw creatures that made no sense. Animals with too many legs. Plants that moved like animals. Things that were neither plant nor animal nor machine. They were all wrong. "The cascade turned everything into monsters," Kvalix explained. "It even affected humans. People got sick. Their bodies changed. They could not control the changes. In the end, the human body could not survive the mutations." Marcus sank to the floor. His legs would not hold him anymore. "We did this. We killed ourselves." "I am sorry," Kvalix said. "I know this is hard to hear." They sat in silence for a while. Then Marcus looked up. Where did it start? Where was ground zero? Kvalix touched the screen again. A new image appeared. It showed a research station on a small moon. The name under it said, Project Sanctuary. Marcus felt his blood turn cold. "No. You know this place?" Kvalix asked. "That was my station. I worked there. I was the lead scientist." Marcus stood up and moved to the wall. "Show me more. Show me everything." Kvalix showed him old reports. She showed him messages from the last days before humanity fell. Marcus read them all. He saw his own name mentioned many times. Some reports called him a hero who tried to stop the cascade. Others called him the man who created it. "I don't understand," Marcus said. "My work was about conservation. I wanted to protect life, not destroy it. I would never create a weapon." "Perhaps you did not mean to," Kvalix suggested. "Perhaps someone took your work and changed it." Marcus thought about this. He remembered arguments with military officers. He remembered them wanting to use his research for other purposes. He had refused. He had kept his work secret. But what if they had stolen his research? What if they had taken his work and twisted it into something terrible? The cryopod, Marcus said suddenly. You found me in a cryopod. Was there anything else with it? Any data? Any files? Kavalix hesitated. Yes, there was a data core. It is locked with quantum encryption. Only human biometrics can open it. Then we need to open it, Marcus said. Whatever is inside might explain what happened. It might tell us the truth about the cascade. Kavalix looked uncomfortable. Her antennae twitched nervously. The Galactic Council knows about the data core. They have ordered it to be destroyed. They do not want to take any chances with human technology. But it might have answers, Marcus said. It might have information that could help everyone. Or it might have something dangerous, Kavalix replied. That is what the Council believes. That is why they have also ordered your execution. The words hung in the air like ice. Marcus felt his heart stop. They're going to kill me? In 3 days. When we reach the Council station, they say you are too dangerous to live. They say any human knowledge is too dangerous. Kavalix moved closer to the wall. I argued against it. I told them you were innocent. But they did not listen. Marcus felt anger rise in his chest. So I wake up after 800 years. I learn my entire species is dead. I learn I might have caused it. And now you're going to kill me before I can even understand what happened? I do not want this, Kavalix said. I believe you deserve a chance to know the truth. Then help me, Marcus said. Help me open the data core. If there's something dangerous inside, we'll destroy it. But if there's something that can clear my name, something that can explain what really happened, then we need to know. Kavalix was quiet for a long time. Marcus could see her thinking. He could see the conflict in her eyes. She was a scientist. She wanted knowledge. But she was also part of the Council. She had rules to follow. If I help you, she finally said, I will be breaking our most important laws. I could be executed too. I understand, Marcus said, and I would never ask you to take that risk. But think about it. What if the data core has information that could save lives? What if there's another threat out there, and the answer is in that data? What do you mean? Kavalix asked. Why would I have a quantum-locked data core with me in cryosleep? Why would I erase my own memories of the last 6 months? People don't do that without a reason. Maybe I knew something. Maybe I discovered something important. Something so important that I had to protect it, even from myself. Kavalix considered this. Marcus could see she was starting to believe him, starting to see that maybe he was right. I need to think about this, she said. I need time. We don't have much time, Marcus reminded her. 3 days. Kavalix left without another word. Marcus sat down in his cell and waited. He thought about Earth. He thought about all the people he had known. His friends, his family, his colleagues. All of them were dust now. All of them had died while he slept. He thought about the cascade. He remembered his research. He had been trying to create a universal immune system, something that could protect life from any disease, any threat. He had been working on adapting organisms to survive in harsh environments. Had someone taken that work and turned it into a weapon? Had someone made it too powerful, too aggressive, and if so, why? Why would anyone want to destroy their own species? 2 days passed. Kavalix did not come back. Marcus began to lose hope. Maybe she had decided it was too risky. Maybe she had told the captain about their conversation. Maybe they would come for him early. But on the 3rd night, the lights in his cell suddenly went out. In the darkness, Marcus heard a familiar voice. We do not have much time, Kavalix whispered. I have disabled the security systems. The wall will open in 10 seconds. When it does, follow me exactly. Do not make any noise. Marcus felt his heart race. You're helping me? I am helping the truth, Kavalix said. And I believe the truth is in that data core. Now be ready. The wall shimmered and disappeared. Marcus stepped out of his cell for the first time in days. Kavalix handed him a dark cloak. Put this on. It will hide your heat signature from the sensors. Marcus wrapped the cloak around himself. Kavalix led him through dark corridors. They moved like shadows. Twice they hid while guards passed by. Each time, Marcus held his breath. Each time they were lucky. They reached a small docking bay. A shuttle waited there with its engines already running. The data core sat in a secure case next to the pilot seat. "Get in," Kavalix ordered. "I have programmed a course to an abandoned research station. It is on a dead moon in an empty system. No one goes there anymore." Marcus climbed into the shuttle. Kavalix followed him. As the doors closed, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. "They know," Kavalix said. She grabbed the controls. "Hold on." The shuttle shot out of the docking bay. Behind them, the research ship began to move. Other shuttles launched from it. They were being chased. Kavalix pushed the engines to maximum power. The shuttle shook and rattled. Marcus watched through the window as the pursuing ships got closer. "Can we make it?" he asked. "I do not know," Kavalix said. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. "But we are going to try." Space was dark and cold. Stars shined in the distance like tiny diamonds. The shuttle flew through the blackness at incredible speed. Behind it, 3 pursuit ships followed closely. Kavalix's hands moved over the controls. She pushed buttons and pulled levers. The shuttle turned sharply left, then right, then down. Marcus held onto his seat. His stomach felt sick from all the movement. "They are gaining on us," Kavalix said. Her voice was tight with worry. "This shuttle is not built for combat or speed. It is a research vehicle." Marcus looked at the control panel. He saw numbers and symbols he did not understand. But one thing was clear. The engine was at maximum power. They could not go faster. "What about weapons?" Marcus asked. "Can we fight back?" "This shuttle has no weapons. The Velix do not believe in arming civilian ships." Kavalix checked the screen. "But I have an idea. There is an asteroid field ahead. If I can reach it, maybe we can lose them in there." "How far?" Marcus asked. 2 minutes, but they will reach us in 1, Marcus thought quickly. He looked around the shuttle. There had to be something they could use, some way to slow down their pursuers. Then he saw it. A panel marked with warning symbols. "What's behind that panel?" He pointed. Kavalix glanced over. "The coolant system for the engine." "Why, can we release it behind us?" "As a cloud?" "Theoretically, yes. But without coolant, the engine will overheat. We would have maybe 5 minutes before shutdown. But the cloud would block their sensors, right? They would have to slow down to avoid hitting us blind." Kavalix's antennae perked up. "That could work. It would give us just enough time to reach the asteroid field." She looked at Marcus with something like respect. "How did you think of that?" "Humans are good at desperate solutions," Marcus said with a small smile. "Do it," Kavalix ordered. Marcus opened the panel. Inside were tubes filled with glowing blue liquid. He found the emergency release valve and pulled it. The tubes emptied quickly. Through the window, he saw the coolant spray out behind them like a glowing cloud. The pursuit ships flew into the cloud. Immediately, they slowed down. They could not see through the thick coolant vapor. They separated, trying to fly around it. But this gave Kavalix the time she needed. "Hold on," she shouted. The asteroid field appeared ahead. It was made of thousands of rocks, big and small. Some were as large as mountains. Others were no bigger than cars. They all floated in space, tumbling and spinning. Kavalix flew straight into the field. The shuttle weaved between asteroids. It spun and dodged. Marcus watched rocks pass by the windows, so close he could have touched them. His heart pounded in his chest. Behind them, the pursuit ships entered the field too. But they were bigger and slower. They had trouble matching Kavalix's movements. One ship scraped against an asteroid. Sparks flew. It fell back damaged. 2 ships remained. They kept chasing. But Kavalix knew these asteroids better than they did. She flew deeper into the field where the rocks were thicker, where the spaces between them were smaller. Finally, the pursuit ships gave up. They could not follow without risking destruction. They turned back. Marcus watched them leave. He let out a breath he had been holding. "We did it," he said. "Not yet," Kavalix replied. "The engine temperature is rising fast. We need to find a place to land. Now." She checked the navigation computer. "There, that moon. It has an atmosphere. We can land there." The shuttle limped toward the moon. Smoke began to rise from the engine compartment. Warning lights flashed red across the control panel. The engine made terrible grinding sounds. "Almost there," Kavalix said through gritted teeth. "They broke through the moon's atmosphere. The shuttle shook violently. Heat from the friction made the windows glow orange. Marcus could feel the temperature rising inside the cabin. Below them, Marcus saw a dead landscape, gray rock and dust, craters everywhere, and in the distance a cluster of buildings, old and abandoned. A research station there, Marcus pointed. Can we make it? We have no choice, Kavalik said. The shuttle glided toward the station. The engine sputtered and died. They were too high, too fast. Marcus knew they were going to crash. Kavalik used the last of the maneuvering thrusters. She aimed for a flat area near the station. The ground rushed up to meet them. At the last second, she pulled up the nose. The shuttle hit the ground hard. It bounced once, twice. It skidded across the rocky surface, throwing up dust and stones. Metal screamed. Parts broke off. Finally, after what felt like forever, the shuttle stopped moving. Marcus opened his eyes. He had not realized he had closed them. He was alive. Everything hurt, but he was alive. Kavalik? He called out. I am here, she responded. She sounded dazed. That was not my best landing. It was good enough, Marcus said. He unbuckled his seat restraints and stood up. His legs were shaky. Come on. We need to get to that station. They grabbed the data core and left the ruined shuttle. The moon's atmosphere was thin but breathable. The air was cold. Marcus could see his breath. They walked to the research station. The buildings were old. Dust covered everything. Windows were broken. Doors hung open. It looked like no one had been here for many years. What is this place? Marcus asked. According to my research, this was a human facility, Kavalik said, abandoned after the cascade. No one has come here since. They entered the main building. Inside, the air was stale. Equipment lay scattered on the floor. Computer screens were dark. Everything was covered in dust, but Marcus noticed something. Some of the equipment still had power lights blinking, faint but present. The facility was not completely dead. There must be an emergency power system, he said, something that kept running all these years. They found a computer terminal that still worked. Marcus wiped the dust off the screen. He pressed the power button. After a moment, the screen glowed to life. Text appeared. It asked for identification. Marcus placed his hand on the scanner. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the computer beeped. It recognized him. Words appeared on the screen. Welcome back, Dr. Chen. You have been gone for 847 years, 4 months, and 12 days. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. This computer knew him. It had been waiting for him. Let me connect the data core, Kavalik said. She found a port and plugged in the device. The computer screen changed. New text appeared. Quantum lock detected. Biometric scan required for full access. Marcus placed both hands on the scanner. He looked into a camera for an eye scan. The computer beeped again. The quantum lock opened. Files began to appear on the screen. Thousands of them. Research notes. Video logs. Experiment results. Marcus's own handwriting filled document after document. He opened the first video log. His own face appeared on the screen. But this version of him looked older, tired, worried. The recording began. If you are watching this, it means I succeeded. I made it to the cryopod. I survived. But more importantly, this data survived. Marcus watched himself speak. It was strange seeing his own face from so long ago. The cascade was not an accident. It was not a mistake. It was deliberate, but not in the way everyone thinks. Kvalix moved closer to the screen. Her antennae stood straight up. We discovered something. A signal from deep space. An old signal, ancient. It was a warning. A warning about something called the Harvesters. The recorded Marcus paused. He looked directly at the camera. His eyes were full of fear. The Harvesters are coming. They have destroyed thousands of civilizations. They consume everything. Every living thing. Every world. They turn it all into fuel for themselves. Marcus felt his hands go numb. He looked at Kvalix. She was staring at the screen in horror. We created the cascade as a defense. We tried to make all life in the galaxy immune to the Harvesters. We tried to create an adaptive system that could resist their bioweapons. But we failed. The cascade was too aggressive. It killed us instead of protecting us. The recorded Marcus leaned closer to the camera. But I did not give up. In my final months, I found a way to control it, to fix it. The data in this core contains everything you need. Instructions, formulas, everything. He paused again. When he spoke next, his voice was barely a whisper. The harvesters will arrive in approximately 850 years. I will be dead by then. Humanity will be dead. But whoever finds this data, whoever opens this file, please listen. You need to restart the cascade. You need to use it to protect the galaxy. It is the only way to survive. The video ended. The screen went black. Marcus and Kavalik stood in silence. The weight of what they had just learned pressed down on them like a physical thing. 850 years, Marcus said slowly. That means they are already here, Kavalik's finished. Or very close. Marcus pulled up more files. He found star charts, projections, calculations. His past self had been thorough. The data showed exactly when and where the harvesters would enter the galaxy. According to this, they will reach the first inhabited systems in 3 years, Marcus said. His voice shook. 3 years. That's all the time we have. Kavalik touched the screen with a shaking hand. We need to tell the council. We need to warn everyone. They won't believe us, Marcus said. They think I'm dangerous. They think human technology is evil. They'll destroy this data and kill me rather than listen. Then what do we do? Kavalik asked. Marcus looked at the data on the screen. Instructions for saving the galaxy. Instructions that only he could understand. Only he could implement. Marcus and Kavalik spent 3 days in the abandoned research station. They read every file in the data core. They watched every video log. Slowly, Marcus began to remember. Not everything, but enough. He remembered working day and night. He remembered the fear when they decoded the ancient warning signal. He remembered the desperate race to create a defense before it was too late. I erased my own memories, Marcus explained to Kavalik. I was afraid that if I was captured, someone might force me to reveal the location of this data. So I protected it the only way I could. I forgot it existed. Kavalik was reading through the technical documents. Her antennae twitched as she processed the information. This is incredible. Your species was so advanced. These formulas, these designs. We have nothing like this. We had to be, Marcus said. We knew what was coming. We knew we had to find a way to stop it or everyone would die. But the cascade killed your people anyway, Kavalik said quietly. Yes. We failed. But according to these notes I learned from that failure, I found a way to control it. A way to make it safe. Marcus pulled up a new file. The key is in my DNA. What do you mean? Kavalik asked. I modified myself. I changed my own genetic code to act as a control mechanism for the cascade. If we restart it, I can guide it. I can make sure it only attacks the harvesters. It won't hurt other life forms. Kavalik stared at him. That is why they put you in the cryopod. You were not running away. You were preserving yourself. You were making sure someone could use this weapon in the future. Exactly, Marcus said. I am not just the last human. I am the key to stopping the harvesters. On the 4th day, they detected ships approaching the moon. Many ships. The Galactic Council had found them. They tracked us through the shuttle's emergency beacon, Kavalik said. She looked at the screen with worry. There are 20 ships. Military vessels. We cannot escape. Then we don't run, Marcus said. We face them. We tell them the truth. They will not listen. You know this. Then we make them listen, Marcus said. We broadcast the data. We send it to every ship, every station, every world in the council. We make sure everyone knows what's coming. Kavalik thought about this. That could work. But it would take time to upload everything. Time we might not have. How long? Marcus asked. 30 minutes. Maybe more. Then we start now. Before they land, they worked quickly. Kavalik connected the research station's communication array to the data core. Marcus selected the most important files. The warning signal. The projections showing the harvester's arrival. The video logs explaining everything. Upload starting, Kavalik announced. 20% complete. Outside, the council ships began to land. Marcus could see them through the window. Large, powerful vessels, armed with weapons, surrounded by soldiers. The door to the research station burst open. Admiral Therzak entered, flanked by guards. He was from a species called the Corvin. They looked like large reptiles with thick armor plating. Therzak was old. His scales were gray with age, but his eyes were sharp and alert. Step away from the computer, the Admiral ordered. His voice was deep and commanding. Marcus and Kavalik did not move. The upload continued. 40% complete. Kavalik, you have betrayed your people, Therzak said. You have broken the most sacred laws. You have released a human. You have accessed forbidden technology. I have saved us all, Kvalix replied. Her voice was steady. If you would just look at the data, you would understand. We do not need to look at human propaganda, another council member said. This one was from the Lumina species. They were beings made of pure light, contained in environmental suits. We know what humans did. We know they destroyed themselves. They were trying to save you, Marcus shouted. They knew the harvesters were coming. They tried to create a defense. Yes, it went wrong. Yes, humanity died, but they died trying to protect the galaxy from something worse. 60% complete. The harvesters are a myth, Therzak said. An old story. There is no proof they exist. Then explain this, Marcus said. He pulled up the ancient warning signal on another screen. This signal has been broadcasting for 10,000 years. It warns of a consuming force, a force that destroys all life. The signal came from a civilization that no longer exists. They were wiped out. Some of the council members looked uncertain. They moved closer to the screen. They read the translation of the signal. This proves nothing, Therzak insisted. It could be anything. A natural disaster, a civil war. It does not prove the existence of these harvesters. 80% complete. Then check your deep space sensors, Kvalix said. Check the outer rim of the galaxy. If Marcus is right, there should be anomalies, disturbances, signs of something approaching. Therzak paused. He looked at one of his officers. Do it. Check the sensors. The officer worked on a portable device. After a moment, his face changed. The color drained from his scales. Admiral, there are massive signatures at the outer rim, moving inward, consuming stellar matter. The patterns matched the predictions in the human data. The room went silent. Everyone stared at the officer. Then they looked at Marcus. How long until they reach inhabited space? Therzak asked quietly. The officer checked his device. 3 years. Maybe less. 95% complete. Then humanity was right, the Lumina Council member said softly. They knew. They tried to warn us. They tried to save us. Upload complete, Kvalix announced. The data has been sent to every council ship, every research station, every major world. Everyone knows now. Therzak looked at Marcus with new eyes. Not with fear, not with hatred, with respect. What do we need to do? Marcus pulled up the technical specifications. We need to reactivate the Genesis network. We need to restart the cascade, but this time under control. My DNA will act as the guide. It will ensure the cascade only targets the harvesters. How long will it take? Another council member asked. Months, maybe a year. We need to build new facilities. We need to grow the organisms. We need to distribute them across every inhabited world. Marcus looked at each council member in turn. And we need to work together. All species, all worlds. If we fight or argue, we will fail. Therzak nodded slowly. The council will need to vote. But I believe they will approve. The evidence is clear. We have no choice. There is one more thing, Marcus said. His voice grew quiet. The process will require constant genetic input from me. Each world we protect will need samples of my DNA. It will be difficult, painful. How painful? Kvalix asked. Marcus looked at the data on the screen, at the calculations his past self had made. It will kill me eventually. My body can only produce so much genetic material before it fails. I have enough to protect maybe 50 worlds. After that, he did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. Everyone understood. Then we will choose the 50 most important worlds, Therzak said. The ones with the largest populations. The ones that can serve as refuges if other worlds fall. No, Marcus said firmly. We protect all of them. Every world. Every life matters. But you said you can only do 50, the Lumina member pointed out. Then we find another way, Marcus said. We find a way to replicate my DNA, to spread it further. We have the smartest scientists in the galaxy working together now. We can do this. Kvalix stepped forward. He is right. If we work together, if we pool our knowledge and resources, we can find a solution. We can save everyone. The council members looked at each other. Slowly, they began to nod. Agreement spread through the room. Very well, Therzak said. We begin immediately. Marcus Chen, you are no longer a prisoner. You are now the galaxy's greatest hope. We will give you whatever resources you need, whatever help you require. Just tell us what to do. Marcus felt a weight lift from his shoulders. For the first time since waking up, he felt like there was hope. Real hope. First, we need to locate Project Sanctuary, Marcus said. The main facility. It will have equipment and samples we can use. It will save us months of work. The world is quarantined, Therzak said. No one has been allowed near it for 8 centuries. Then it's time to lift the quarantine, Marcus said. It's time to go back to where it all began. Within hours, a fleet was assembled. 30 ships, scientists from 12 different species, engineers, doctors, soldiers, all heading to the dead world where humanity had made its last stand. Marcus stood on the bridge of the flagship. Kvalix stood beside him. Through the window, they could see the other ships, all following them, all trusting him. Are you afraid? Kvalix asked. Terrified, Marcus admitted. What if I'm wrong? What if the cascade cannot be controlled? What if I end up killing everyone just like it killed humanity? Then we die fighting, Kvalix said simply. Which is better than dying without trying. Marcus looked at her. This alien who had risked everything to give him a chance, who had believed in him when no one else would. Thank you, he said, for waking me up, for trusting me. Kvalix's antennae moved in what Marcus had learned was the Valix equivalent of a smile. Thank you for proving that humans were worth saving. The fleet jumped to hyperspace. Destination, Project Sanctuary. The place where everything had gone wrong. The place where maybe everything could be made right again. As the stars stretched into lines of light, Marcus felt something he had not felt in a very long time. Purpose. His species was gone. His world was dead. But he was still here. Project Sanctuary looked like a nightmare come to life. The world below was covered in twisted vegetation. Purple vines wrapped around buildings. Strange mushrooms the size of trees grew from cracked streets. Animals moved in the shadows, but they were not normal animals. They had too many limbs, too many eyes. Wrong shapes, this was what the cascade had done. This was what Marcus had helped create. The fleet landed in a cleared area near the main research facility. Teams in protective suits went out first. They checked for dangers. They secured the building. Then Marcus and the others followed. Inside the facility, Marcus found everything just as he had left it. Dusty, dark, but still functional. The emergency power had kept critical systems alive for 800 years. The equipment is still here, he said. He moved through the labs, checking each room. The bioreactors, the gene sequencers, the cultivation chambers, everything we need. Teams began to work immediately. They cleaned the equipment. They ran diagnostics. They prepared the facility to produce the controlled cascade organisms. Marcus worked alongside them. He showed them how to use the human technology. He explained the processes. He shared everything he knew. But there was a problem. A big problem. We need more of your genetic material than we thought, Kvalix told him after 2 weeks of work. Her antennae drooped. She looked sad. Much more. The calculations were wrong. We will need samples from you for every single world. 247 worlds. Marcus felt his stomach drop. That's 5 times more than I can give. My body cannot produce that much. I know, Kvalix said quietly. The team is working on alternatives. They are trying to clone your cells, trying to replicate your DNA. But so far, nothing works. Your genetic modifications are too complex, too specific to you. Marcus sat down. He felt tired, so tired. So what happens? We only protect 50 worlds and abandon the rest? Or we find another way, Kvalix said. Or, she hesitated, or what? Marcus asked. Or you give everything, all at once. We create one massive release, one final cascade that spreads across the entire galaxy, guided by your DNA, controlled by your genetic code. It would protect every world, every species, but it would kill me, Marcus finished. Immediately, Kvalix nodded. She did not speak. There was nothing to say. Marcus thought about this. He thought about his life, his old life on Earth, his friends and family, all gone now. He thought about the 800 years he had lost. He thought about waking up alone in a galaxy that feared him. And he thought about all the lives he could save. Billions of people across hundreds of worlds. Different species, different cultures, all living, all thriving, all deserving a chance to survive. How long until the harvesters arrive? He asked. 1 month. Maybe less. They have accelerated. They are moving faster than we predicted. Marcus stood up. He walked to the window. Outside he could see the twisted landscape. The result of humanity's mistake. The price of trying and failing. Tell me about the process, he said. The full release. How would it work? Kvalix explained. They would use the bioreactors to break down his entire body. Every cell, every molecule. They would extract his DNA and bind it to the cascade organisms. Then they would release it into space. The organisms would spread like seeds on the wind. Within days, they would reach every inhabited world. Within weeks, they would transform the biosphere of each planet. The transformation would be invisible to most people. The cascade would integrate into existing life. It would become part of the ecosystem. But when the harvesters arrived, when they tried to consume planets, the cascade would activate. It would fight back. It would protect life. And me, Marcus asked. What happens to me? The process is instant. You would not feel pain. You would simply become part of something larger. Your consciousness would end, but your DNA would live on. In every creature, on every world. In a way, you would become immortal. Marcus was quiet for a long time. Finally, he turned back to Kvalix. When can we do it? Kvalix's antenna shot up. You are agreeing? Just like that? You do not need time to think. I've had 800 years to think, Marcus said with a sad smile. I knew from the moment I entered that cryopod that this was my purpose. To survive, to wake up when I was needed, to do what had to be done. He looked out at the twisted landscape again. Humanity failed once. We tried to save the galaxy and destroyed ourselves instead. I won't fail again. Marcus, you do not have to do this. We can find another way. We can keep searching for alternatives. We don't have time, Marcus said firmly. Every day we wait, the harvesters get closer. Every day we waste is a day we could have been preparing. No, we do this now. We do it right. And we save everyone. The next week was spent in preparation. The bioreactors were calibrated. The release mechanisms were tested. Scientists ran simulation after simulation to make sure everything would work. Marcus spent his time recording messages. Messages for the future. Messages explaining what had happened. Messages thanking everyone who had helped. Messages saying goodbye. He recorded a special message for Kvalix. Thank you for believing in me when no one else would. Thank you for giving humanity one last chance to do something good. I hope the galaxy remembers us not for our failures, but for this, for what we did at the end. On the final day, Marcus stood in the bioreactor chamber. It was a large room with white walls. In the center was a pod that looked similar to the cryopod. But this one would not preserve him. This one would transform him. The entire council was there. They stood outside the chamber watching through thick glass. Hundreds of screens showed their faces. Representatives from every species. Every world. All of them there to witness humanity's final gift. Admiral Therzak spoke. His voice carried through speakers into the chamber. Marcus Chen, last survivor of humanity, we thank you. We honor you. We will never forget what you have done for us. Other voices joined in, each species speaking in their own language. All saying the same thing. Thank you. We will remember. You saved us. Marcus looked at Kvalix. She stood right at the glass. Her antennae were perfectly still. She was trying not to cry if Felix could cry. See you on the other side, Marcus said to her. He climbed into the pod. He lay down. The lid closed above him. Through the transparent cover, he could see the lights. He could see the faces watching him. Beginning the process, a technician announced. Marcus felt warmth spread through his body. It was not painful. It was actually peaceful. Like falling asleep. His vision began to blur. The faces outside became soft shapes. Colors blended together. He thought about Earth. About running through forests as a child. About his first day at university. About the moment he decided to become a scientist. About all the small moments that had led him here. He thought about his colleagues on Project Sanctuary. All dead now, all gone. But he would join them soon. Maybe. Wherever they were. He thought about the future. About all the people who would live because of this. About children who would grow up safe. About species that would thrive. About a galaxy that would survive. It was worth it. All of it, every moment of pain. Every moment of fear. Worth it for this. His last thought was simple. I hope I made you proud. I hope humanity would be proud. Then there was light. Bright light. And peace. The bioreactor hummed. Marcus Chen's body dissolved into pure genetic material. His DNA was extracted, purified, and bound to millions of cascade organisms. The organisms were loaded into dispersal rockets. The rockets launched from Project Sanctuary. They spread out in all directions. They reached the upper atmosphere and broke apart. The cascade organisms spread like invisible seeds across the galaxy. Within days, they reached inhabited worlds. They integrated into ecosystems without anyone noticing. A slight change in the air. A subtle shift in plants and animals. Nothing dramatic. Nothing scary. Within weeks, every world was protected. Every species had Marcus's DNA woven into their biology. Humanity's final gift had been delivered. The harvesters arrived 3 weeks later. Their massive ships entered the galaxy like a plague. They approached the first inhabited world, a water planet called Thessia. The Thessians evacuated their cities. They prepared for the worst. The harvesters released their bioweapons, clouds of consuming organisms that had destroyed thousands of civilizations. The clouds descended on Thessia. But something was different. The moment the harvester organisms touched Thessia's atmosphere, the cascade activated. The planet's biosphere fought back. Plants released chemicals that destroyed the invaders. Animals developed instant immunity. The air itself became toxic to the harvesters. The harvester ships tried again and again. Each time, the planet adapted faster. The cascade learned from each attack and grew stronger. After 3 days, the harvesters retreated. They tried other worlds. The same thing happened. Every planet they attacked fought back. Every ecosystem had become a weapon against them. The harvesters had never encountered anything like this. For the first time in their existence, they could not consume. They could not win. After 2 months of failed attacks, they left the galaxy. They returned to the dark spaces between galaxies, searching for easier prey. The galaxy was saved. Years passed. Then decades. The galaxy entered a golden age. Species worked together like never before. They shared knowledge. They explored together. They built together.